Well, good evening, everyone, and thanks for being here. Wished we weren't, that's for sure. My name is Randy Anderson. I'm a person living in long-term recovery, and what that means to me, thank you. What that means to me is I haven't used any alcohol or drugs or mood-altering substance since January 9, 2005. So this year I had 17 years of recovery, and like, of course, didn't do that all by myself. I did that with you and all my community, and I'm going to keep my remarks fairly brief, and those that know me know I can talk for a while. So I kind of wished I didn't belong to this club, like, honestly. So in November, I lost my sister in November of 2020. 2 months later, I lost my mom, and then September 17th last year, my stepdad died of a fentanyl overdose. And so the devastating loss of 3 family members in 14 months was pretty harsh, right? And I think, although I loved my birth mom and my stepdad, the hardest one for me is my sister still. And, you know, I have that survivor guilt, right? Like, my sister was a nurse for 20 years. She dedicated her life to helping people. She worked right here in downtown Minneapolis for most of her career at HCMC, Hennepin Healthcare. And she became addicted. She started with drinking, and it turned to pills, and we all know the story. And she ended up having a stroke and 2 open heart surgeries, and you name it, like, everything could go wrong, went wrong. And then COVID hit, right? And there were no services available for my sister. And with a new brain injury, that first 6 to 12 months is like the critical time. And that was the time that we were at home, stay-at-home orders, and video conferencing doesn't work really well for someone with a brain injury. And my sister just missed her window, right? And unfortunately, she went back to using, and her blood infections returned, and it ate her from the inside out. And the part that was, 2 things happened during that journey. One is, I remember my sister saying to me, she goes, "Brother, they're never going to let me be a nurse again." And that broke my heart. I'm like, no, they will. Like, this was before her stroke, and like, just do the right thing and you'll get it. But the systems that we have in place, like, they punish people, right? Like, my sister got punished for having addiction, right? For a substance use disorder. And she just couldn't get on track quick enough, and those nursing review boards and all that stuff. And I'm not here to like place blame, but that process killed my sister, right? I mean, it killed her because she wasn't really shown compassion. She was punished. And the other story that I just want to share briefly is the last moment I had with my sister. So Pam, like, got me to change part of how I used to think. And she said to me once, "Randy, if it's the last moment you spend with your sister," and Amber was my sister's name, by the way, "if it's the last moment you spend with Amber, how would you want to remember that? Would you want to remember you 2 swearing at each other and hating each other and being mad at each other? Or would you want to remember it as like you loved each other and you were brother and sister?" And so, interestingly, I got a chance to practice that the last day of my sister's life. She was supposed to have a visitor at the hospital. And, you know, that person called like an hour before the visit and said, we can't make it. And COVID was in effect, and you can only have 1 visitor a day. And I'm like, I'm not going to let my sister go a day without a visit. Like, I'm going to the hospital, even though I was scared to death because I thought she was going to hate me some more, right? She was going to yell at me and tell me I'm destroying her life and all that stuff. And so what I did is I went to her, I got her favorite pizza. I got Pizza Luce and her favorite soda, Diet Dr. Pepper. And I brought her like peace offerings to the hospital. And I spent, 3 or 4 hours that day with my sister. And it was we loved each other. We laughed together. We cried together. Like, I had my sister for that, that brief moment, right? And then the next day we were supposed to move her to hospice care at a group home out in Zimmerman. And my sister died that night. And so that was the last moment I had with my sister. And if it hadn't been for Pam, like saying to me, like, just love your sister like this. If it's the last time you see her, how do you want to remember that? And that's my memory, like sitting in the hospital room, but laughing, eating Pizza Luce with my sister. And so why I tell that story is we all know someone, we've lost someone, or we know someone's still struggling. Like, show them some compassion, right? Show them some love. And that, I guarantee you, will go a long way. So thank you for letting me share tonight. And again, thank you all.
What Randy didn't say about himself is that he does more naloxone trainings than probably anybody in the state. And his work, he works tirelessly to help save lives in Minnesota.